Hi, Sophia. So I'm going to show you how to do these polar coordinate problems. They aren't really that complicated, but they do take some getting used to. So let me see what color I want to write with. Let's write with a nice blue. So your mother said that you wanted help with number 33. So first we're going to start by plotting this point. I'll show you how to do that. There's our coordinate axes. The first thing to look at is the angle, 3 pi. 3 pi, well, 180 degrees around the circle is pi, and then all the way around is 2 pi. So then we keep going. 3 pi is that 180 degree angle after we've gone around the circle 1.5 times. So let me get this red. So the angle 180 or 3 pi is this angle. So then all we need to do, once we have that angle of 3 pi, is look for r. Now, if r were positive, let me get purple. If r were positive, it would be some distance along this angle, but r is negative, so it's actually in the opposite direction of this angle. So it is 1, 2. So this is the point we're looking for. There are other ways to describe this point. For example, you could describe this point as the angle 0 with the radius 2. You could describe this point as the angle pi with the radius -2. And in this case, we're describing the angle as the point as the angle is 3 pi with the radius in the opposite direction of that angle of 2. So that is the radius of -2, which means the angle is 3 pi and the radius goes in the opposite direction of that angle. So the radius is -2. So this is the point right here that we're looking at. Let me graph that point here. So this is the point right here. Now they're not asking you to give rectangular coordinates for that, but if they were, the rectangular coordinates would be 2, 0. But that's not what they want. But that is the plot. This is the point that in the rectangle and the polar coordinates of -2, 3 pi would give that point there, because you go around 1.5 times till you get to the angle 3 pi, but you don't go in that direction, which would be a positive r. You go in the opposite direction, 2, which gives the r of -2. So I hope that makes some sense to you. If it doesn't, if you could write out exactly what your confusion is, and so I can make sure to address that. But let's answer the rest of the questions. We want to give other ways of describing it. The one way that we've done already is -2, 3 pi. To find other ways, first we're going to find the angle. We want an angle between, a negative angle between 0 and -2 pi. Negative angle means we're going in the opposite direction, anywhere between 0 and 2 pi. So they don't want us to use 0 because it says 0 is greater than or equal to -2 pi. And r is going to, I can't use yellow. Let's use orange. Because r has got to be greater than 0. So we could choose this angle and have a negative r, but they don't want a negative r. So we have to go all the way around to -2 pi. That is this way around the circle, all the way around once, till we get to this angle. This is the angle -2 pi. that is starting at 0, and we go clockwise around the circle, not in the normal counterclockwise way we would go from 0 to pi over 2 to pi to 3 pi over 2. We're going in a negative angle direction, which means we're going clockwise all the way around once to the angle of negative 2 pi. And now we can get a positive r because we are at the point r equals 2. So r equals 2, theta equals negative 2 pi. Our point is 2, comma, negative 2 pi. So again, that's A, where r is greater than 0, and negative 2 pi is less than or equal to theta is less than 0. So theta equals negative 2 pi. Let's draw this point again and find another way to describe it. So this is this point right here. Now we're going to do B. We want r to be less than 0, so we want an angle that's actually pointing in this direction, so that we're going to have to take r of negative 2. So this time they want 0 is less than theta is less than 2 pi, so that means our regular way around the circle, we're going to stop right here. So that is a theta equals pi. And we're not going to go move in that direction. We're going to move in the opposite direction. So that's going to give us an r that's negative. And we go 1, 2, r of negative 2. So this is the point negative 2, comma pi. It's very similar to our original problem, which was negative 2, 3 pi. Okay, this time we're taking our angle in the first go around of the circle between 0 and 2 pi, and we want r to be negative, so we're going to stop at pi and move in the opposite direction 2, so that'll be negative 2 comma pi. Now let's draw one more time for another. There's actually an infinite number of ways you can describe any particular point in polar coordinates, because you can just keep going around the circle another time. But here's that same point. This time in C, we're looking for r greater than 0. So we're going to want some angle. Let me get a different color. We're going to want some angle that actually points in this direction so that it's a positive r in that same direction. This time we want the angle between 2 pi and 4 pi. 2 pi is once around the circle in this regular direction, but that is once around the circle we get the 2 pi. So between 2 pi and 4 pi would be somewhere between once around the circle and a whole other time around the circle. And they don't want 4 pi to be included, so 2 pi has to be what we're looking for. If we go 2 pi around the circle, we stop right here, which is the angle we want. So our 0 degree angle is also called 2 pi. It's also called 4 pi. It's also called 6 pi. 8 pi, any even integer number of pi, positive or negative, is that angle. And we want r to be positive. So we are going in the direction of that angle 2. So the way of describing that point is 2, comma, 2 pi. So that is the 4 different ways. Well, first of all, we plotted that point, and then we found 3 other ways to describe or to give the coordinates and polar coordinates of that point. And there are an infinite number of ways depending on which direction you go around the circle and how far you go, and whether you go in the direction of the angle you find, which gives you a positive r, or in the opposite direction of the angle you find, which is a negative r. Hope this makes some sense. I'll get this link over to your mom, and you let me know if you still have questions about this. Maybe I can work through other examples or answer any particular question that you have.